Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Hey friends, and welcome back to another episode of Genuine Business Stories, where we have real front porch chats that inspire success. Today's episode is special. We're sitting down with someone whose work is changing lives in one of the most meaningful ways possible. Paula Mendez, a geriatric nurse practitioner and founder of Joy of Living Club, is building a beautiful mission dedicated to bringing joy, dignity, and connection to seniors across our community. Through monthly brunches, games, activities, emotional support, and even field trips, including a partnership with Harris County for transportation, Anna is creating a space where seniors feel seen, loved, and included. We're going to talk today about her journey, her calling, the heartbreaking moments that shape this mission, and the joy that comes from serving our seniors. Anna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
We are happy to have you here. So, tell us a little bit about yourself growing up. What shaped young Anna?
Well, I grew up in Mexico City. I came here when I was 13, so around 7th grade. We came in the middle of the year, and I have 2 brothers, and they all live here in Houston as well. And I've always been close to God, but as I grew up, around in junior year, specifically during the summer, I volunteered at MD Anderson and just helping the kids and just visiting them. And I got to meet a nice friend, and he was actually 18 at that time, and he had a bone marrow transplant, and he was within his first 100 days for remission. And I got to be friends with him. We would play cards and board games and all of that during the summer. I lived in Energy Corridor, so actually I was, 16, 17, so it was my way to drive. I would have to drive all the way, I-10, 610, 59, so it was perfect excuse that I would tell my parents, I'm going to go help, but you need to let me drive. And so I just took care of my friend. His name was Sergio. He actually ended up living, and he played golf. But anyway, one of the days, he was very sick, and I was caring for him. And his grandmother came in the room, and she saw how I was caring for him, and she told me, Anna, you need to be a nurse. This is your vocation. And I said, no, never in my life, no. But that never left my mind. And it was just, I should be a nurse, and I would pray about it, and I found my vocation. So I decided to apply to HBU. I got into the nursing program, and so my nursing career started.
That's fantastic.
At HBU. So while I was a nursing student, I got to go to Scotland in a nursing exchange program, and I also got to be part of Methodist Hospital has something called the MAP program, in which nursing students can be paired with a nurse staff, and you can actually get paid for it, and so you train and then get exposed. So I got into the MAP program. I had that opportunity, and so by the time I graduated, I had a job.
Well, that is fantastic.
So I started working at Methodist Hospital Med Center. I was in the organ transplant floor. We took care of patients that had...
So did you go straight into geriatrics?
No.
No,
it was just adults. So I did my nursing for 8 years at Methodist in the transplant floor, and then ICU. And then I went to get my master's degree as an adult gerontology practitioner. And that's where I went back into the geriatrics, and I started my life there.
So what was that moment in the clinic where you realized that you wanted to go work with seniors?
They were just so cute. And, they would, even when I was in the hospital, you had the grandparents, oh, honey, let me present you to my grandson. And how about we go have coffee? And, they just wanted to talk and somebody to hold their hand. And they had so much life experience. And that's why I went into adult gerontology.
Well, that is great. So during your time with your clinic, you saw a few senior suicides. That is something that I lost my dad when he was a senior to this. We ended up finding out it was the medication that they had put him on, that there were two very dangerous black shelf medications that quickly changed how his mind processed things. And as a very outgoing person, you're never thinking that can be the result. So tell us a little bit about some of your experience with that, because it's hard, but as you and I talked before, it is a passion that I have, that I hold dear to my heart.
Yes. It's difficult. This topic is very difficult, but I think it's very real. And yes, we've had at least 3 suicides in our clinic, if not a little more. And especially after COVID, we've found that a lot of the seniors, well, everyone in general had, underwent a lot of depression and anxiety during COVID. But especially the seniors, they were so isolated.
Yeah.
And it was between the children that didn't want to hurt their parents, and then the elderly people that didn't want to hurt their family, and they didn't want to put any burden on their families, and they were just more isolating themselves. And it's every patient that comes in, we examine all their medications. That's the first thing. We ask how can we help you, and then that's called the chief complaint. And then we go into, okay, what medications are you taking? Because many of them, as you've said, have the side effects for worsening depression and even suicide. But what touched me particularly was that one of the days I had the wife of a man that committed suicide. And she came in, and it had been 1 year since he had committed suicide. And she told me, I feel guilty about living. They never had any children. And she said, I don't know what to do with my life. All of my life, he had cancer, and he had struggled a lot. It was a lot of suffering. And she was a sole caregiver for him for the last 4 years. And then he was gone, and she lost her purpose, and she didn't know what else to do in her life. And so that really touched my heart to see how it was interesting. It is interesting to see all of these seniors, and all they say is, I don't want to be a burden to my children. I already know everything that my son or my daughter they're going through, and I don't want to be an extra stressor. And so they choose not to talk to their sons or their daughters and to get them more involved, because they don't want to hurt them, and also because they don't want to lose their independence, and they don't want to accept that they need help, and they don't want to make themselves extra vulnerable.
Losing independence is something that I'm 56, and it gives me a little bit of stress at times. In fact, I just joked with my daughter. My daughter is 34 and happily married, 2 grandkids. But I joked with her, and I said, if you ever think you're going to put me somewhere, I said, the next time you come to my place, you'll see a 20-foot fence with razor wire, and you'll talk to your dad through FaceTime, because I won't let you get close enough to take me away from my place.
I had a senior. He's so cool. I love this patient that I have, and he's like, Anna, I am a farm man. I'm a Texan. You cannot tell me that I'm not gonna pick up hay, that I'm not gonna go on my horses, that I'm not going to, ride them and do all of these muscle movements, get on the horse, like, even though he can barely move. And I'm like, sir, just your priorities need to change. You need to come down back to life on earth and reality check, right? And that's when you kind of have to sweet talk to your patients, right? And then get them to realize they're in your reality.
So how long were you working with seniors before you saw this need to start your Joy of Living?
7 years.
7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So what were kind of some of the first steps that you took? Did you write a business plan? At what point did you realize you needed to make it a nonprofit?
So I've always been close to God as part of my journey. And I have a daughter. She's 7 years old. And my husband and I struggled with infertility for about 5 years. During this time, I had surgery. I have endometriosis. I had some blocked fallopian tubes, and I had to go through different treatments in order to have a baby. And then the doctors were like, "Well, I'm sorry, there's nothing more that we can do." And we tried to adopt. We enrolled into the foster care, and we actually licensed our home. We opened it for 2 years, and we tried to be foster parents for a newborn baby. My daughter at that time was 4, so 3.5 to 4. So we were pretty determined that we didn't want a older sibling. We wanted her to be the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
So that already limited all of our options. And we just waited and waited and waited to have that call from the agency that we were working for, and the call never came. So when the seniors, when I would be in the clinic listening to their sufferings, I was dealing with my own personal suffering, which was infertility. So although we were talking about independence and dreams and missions and purpose and about understanding and just trusting God, I was having a hard time trusting God because I couldn't believe why God wouldn't send us another baby. And so I actually enrolled in a retreat. And that day that I went to the retreat, I went in the afternoon, and that morning, that's when I had the wife of the man that committed suicide that came to me. My next patient, whom I love, she said, "Oh, Anna, I turned 75. My life is over. I feel that after 75, my bones don't work, my muscles hurt, I can't move. Just something in the 70s. I don't know how to do this. I'm just struggling. I don't want to reach out to my kids. I don't want my husband to see me crying like this. I'm just tired of living." And so that thought, I am tired of living, that just stayed with me. And so that day when I went into the retreat, the first thing that they asked me was, "What suffering do you want to leave behind?" And I said, "Infertility." I was ready. I was absolutely ready. And then they said, "What hope do you have about the retreat?" And I said, "To understand why God hasn't let us have more children." And then, "What fear do you have?" And I said, "To also do and understand what God is calling us for." And so I was praying, and that's when I was praying for all of my patients and every senior that I had. And that when that was said, "I'm tired of living," I said, "God, how can we show them that you're still listening?" And so I had this idea to start Joy of Living. And so it was, if somehow we could do nice things for seniors, if we could give them joy, if we could help them exercise, help them eat better, be with them, then it wouldn't be as much isolation. As I said from the beginning, I'm from Mexico, and my grandparents, especially my grandma, was my bestest friend ever. And in the Hispanic culture, you are very close to your older persons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to your grandparents. And it's not the same as in the American culture. So the American culture is very lonely. And they don't have those ties, those family ties. Here at 18, you go to college, bye, see you later, and in Mexico, you're still 28, 30, and your parents are like trying to get you out because you're still living at their parents, right? And going every Saturday to your grandparents' house. And so the family dynamics are completely different. So I came out of the retreat and I said, I'm going to work for God. I'm going to give the seniors joy. I'm going to help them live joyfully. And I started, so I had to look for Google. My first thing, I went home, and one of my neighbors is in business, and I said, Kevin, I need help. I have this idea, and I don't know how to start a business. I never went to business school. All I did was nursing. And in nursing, you don't have a single business degree or a single business class. Nothing. And he gave me a book, and he goes, here, use the building model canvas, look it up. And here's the book, and here's what you follow. And so I started to learn about business. I started to talk with different people, get the connection, met Brett with bookkeeping, and just started to know I had to learn how to do websites, how to do marketing, how to get registration into what is I got it for Mother's Day. My husband gave me for Mother's Day a subscription to something that would make the 501c3 possible. So that's what I got for Mother's Day. And so they ended up doing all of the paperwork.
That was a good Mother's Day.
Yeah.
You know,
it wasn't a diamond ring or a diamond earrings or something, but
it was your passion. And the greatest missions begin when someone like yourself refuses to ignore someone else's suffering.
Yeah, you can't.
No.
You can't. And you can't. And so I started for 1 year. It was all the process of registering your name, doing all of the business stuff. And then once I got, 1 year specifically after the retreat, I got my approval for the 501c3. So once I got that, then I'm like, okay, let's touch lives, right? So I got in a flyer and invited people from our clinic to go into the hospital, and we started to organize the brunches, and then the word started to spread. We met Commissioner Ramsey. He gave us the buses for the Harris County. Then the Astros Foundation started to give us the tickets, and just little by little, I opened my LinkedIn account, which I need to be more into it, but I've had to learn so much about business, started to learn about grants, started to network, and it's been a crazy business journey.
So what were some of your biggest early challenges?
I think that getting people to care about seniors, that's the hardest challenge. Like my mission is for other people to love the seniors, for the seniors to come back to society, for the generations that are seeing now, that we have now, to reach out to those grandparents and to have all those values that the seniors have. And so convincing people that seniors matter. And there's not a lot of nonprofits that, they support seniors. There's nonprofits that support kids, but not seniors.
See, I would think a lot of times probably your biggest challenge is getting people to understand that the time that they give back to seniors are what matter. Because I don't think that you have people that don't care about our seniors. I think we have people that get busy with their own life and just take assumptions, oh, they're okay. When my dad passed, I was always close with my parents, but my mother became my responsibility. So if she needs something, then I take care of it. But I think a lot of grown kids I talk to other widows with my business of what I do. And a lot of times they go, I don't want to burden my kids with this.
Yeah.
And isn't that their kids wouldn't help, but they, like you said, they feel like it's a burden. And I very much have made sure Mom no, it's my responsibility and I need to tend to it. So you've got to communicate with me.
I think your mom raised you very well. And you're doing really, really important things for your mom.
I'm doing what's right, So was there a moment after you started this where you were able to kind of smile and go, yes, this is gonna work like I wanted it to?
Every brunch, once I see the seniors that are coming, once I saw the patient that was on a scooter, and for the last year, she had come to the clinic to the scooter, and when she went to the brunch, she had a dress on, she had earrings, she had heels, and she was walking using a walker. It's the first time that I've seen her smile and look. Well, I mean, she looked pretty all the time. If she's hearing me, she always looked pretty, but she has Parkinson's. So she has very difficulty moving. And she came walking, I mean, from here maybe to by the Christmas tree, when she never walked. And so she came walking. So seeing her made everything worthwhile. Seeing I have another senior that I love her as well, and she was so incurred like this from back issues, and she had back surgery, and she was standing up straight, and she walked with a cane. She didn't come with a walker, and she walked with a cane, and she goes, I wouldn't miss this. That just makes everything worthwhile. We were talking about grief and suicide. We had last Saturday, we had a session about surviving the holidays with grieving and just tips on how to get through the holidays when you've lost a major person, a close person.
I would believe the holidays can be a part, that, especially for seniors, that they could feel kind of really lonely without their partner.
It's definitely bittersweet. From what I hear, the hardest instances of the day for seniors from, there's no research, these are all stories. But the hardest part is maybe 7 o'clock-ish when they realize they're going to go to sleep, and they're going to go to sleep alone. And so then anxiety kicks in, because then in all of these, feelings as to what's going to happen if something happens to me. And so that's the hardest part. And then the holidays, because like someone told me, something will trigger that memory. And then you're like, ugh, that person's not really there. And so they get crushed. But then you're like, but it's supposed to be a funny, nice, joyful, heartwarming moment. But it's also with a lot of pain from all the years.
Yeah.
And so, I'll ask.
What are some of the encouraging words that people have given you that have made you continue during some of the challenges of getting this rolling like what you needed?
Oh, they don't. Many of them they use smartphones, right? But they all have their calendars. So when we call them to remind her, oh, honey, I already booked you in our calendars, in our paper calendars, in our home and on here for the next 3 months.
That gives you your encouragement.
Yes, or they'll tell me, oh, besides going to doctor's visits, this is our best. This is our activity that we just look forward to in the month, because many of them haven't gone back to church. Many of them haven't gone out, and the more isolated the senior is, the more isolated they will stay, and they will continue being more isolated.
The first year after my dad passed, I told Mom, I said, I'll go to church with you at your church for a year. And after that year, then I'm going to go back to my church. But I did. I took that first year of going to church with Mom so that she was not walking into services feeling overwhelmed without Dad, to kind of get that transition period. Because as I told you, Mom's pastor was good friends with Dad, and it means a lot to my mother. And I know that helped.
And you bring out a good point. Your situation with your mom was different in a way that you didn't have, or I don't know much about your life, but you didn't struggle with a chronic illness for a very long time for your father. And other seniors, they've struggled caring, becoming. So the wife or the husband, whatever, they're 100% caregivers, right? And all of their life becomes that sick person. And so when that person dies, you don't only lose your spouse, but you lose the purpose, because for the last 4 years, that was all what you did for, right? Yeah. So there's different types of grieving that happen as well.
You're grieving at that point, though, from what I've seen from other seniors that I've spent some time with is, at that point, you've had the opportunity to start coming to grips with what's going to happen so the death is not a surprise. At some points, like if you have a family member that has Alzheimer's or dementia, as much as you don't want to lose that family member,
Right.
when they finally go home, is when you feel more so a sense of relief for them.
Right.
Then the loss for you comes in of what do I do with myself, When you have a passing that's sudden, then it's flipped. You didn't didn't have to care medically for the person, provide that support, bring hospice in. But it's also all of a sudden a shock of 1 minute your spouse leaves the house, maybe it's a car accident or something, and then your spouse, of a senior's not coming home, and there's been no time to prepare, and it's just, here you go, here's life, grab it. And, I would think once you get older, it would be incredibly difficult, because then I would think the thoughts of being alone the rest of your life are far more prevalent than, not that somebody younger that becomes a widower or widowed doesn't hurt,
Right.
but within a few years, life starts going on and you're still young enough to have another life, the second part of it. So I could see where with seniors, that could feel a little overwhelming.
So when the seniors come, that we have their normal checkups, or they come in, then we ask them, are you depressed, or for however long they mention. But as a prescriber, as a doctor or a nurse practitioner myself, but you get to know the 101 with that senior. So then if we realize, they would need some joy. Who wouldn't need some joy in their life, right? So then we would invite them to the brunch and say, hey, we want you to form a community, and there's all of these seniors from the clinic or from around the community who have experienced the same situation that you're experiencing. So just come on, and we'll pray with you. We'll dance with you. We'll exercise. We do different activities, and to just give you some joy. So
while we're talking about the brunch, kind of paint a picture for somebody that would be listening. Tell us about the brunches and what somebody could expect if they came to one of your brunches.
The nurse and me, right? That just the holistic approach as far as how to best take care of a person, right? So we develop different programs that will target different dimensions. So physical, cognitive, emotional, spiritual, and social. So every brunch that we have, we try to do an activity that will target their physical, social, cognitive, spiritual, and emotional being. So when they arrive, then we always start with a prayer. And then we do, usually after the prayer or some singing, then we'll do an educational workshop. And so this will be either health related or emotional related or something that they can learn about their health. And then we feed them lunch. We usually get sponsors around the areas who would like to join us, and then they are the ones that give us the money or the donations for the brunch. So we give them brunch, and then we always do the physical side and the cognitive side. So we've brought in Encompass Rehab has come in with different therapists, and we've had a yoga instructor, and we've had a lifetime coach volunteer. This is all volunteer run. So they come in, and then we exercise, or we do a 20 to 30 minutes of a cognitive activity as far as memory games or numbers, or there's different coloring that you can do following to see how the brain pathways work. So we do that activity. And then we usually dance or sing or play a game.
So what activities do the seniors seem to enjoy the most?
Oh, they love exercising. They love exercising and moving around. That's their most, I think that's when they all really get into it. But only for like 5 minutes. And after that, they're like, okay. So we use water bottles as weights to get them, just to do a little bit of movement. And so always the speakers that we bring or the activities that we do, they're to teach them how to stay at home safely.
So that's a perfect thing to have you talk about, so that it can help you draw in more speakers. What kind of speakers do you look for to have come to speak at your events?
Oh, everybody that would like to have their heart for the seniors and help the seniors, but as long as anything that we equip the seniors with. So dentists, they need a lot of help with their mouths. So dentists, lawyers, to help with the advanced directives and their power of attorneys.
I'm going to bet Medicare agents really ask you about coming in to talk to the seniors about their Medicare.
We've been very selective, you know, and so everything has come from our clinic right now. We treat them as clients. There's many of them that are from around the areas, like I said, just because the word is spreading. We also have another group in Katy. But we've been very selective with the speakers as to, we need to trust them because these are trusted individuals that I don't want to hurt them at all.
So if somebody has a passion and wants to be a speaker, what is kind of the starting point for them to start earning your trust? Since you're not just going to let anybody come in until you trust them, there's got to be that starting point of how you...
Well, we have a meeting, you know, we get them, you know, we get to know them and we, you know, why are you wanting to talk to the seniors? And then after, if you know, we have the good vibe and, you know, it's a Christian, we actually want it to be Christian speakers, we would just have to ask them for their guidelines as to what they're going to speak to the seniors about, so that, yes, we know that they're reliable sources.
So tell us a little bit about how you were able to team up with Harris County Transportation and how that kind of looks and how that benefits the seniors.
I can't actually, I'm trying to remember how it was my first call, but honestly, I'm very outspoken and I'm not very shy. So I still, you know, look on the phones and I call, hello, my name is Anna. I am this person. I would like to get to hold of this person. And that's how I've actually gotten to talk to some of the senators, some of their representatives, Commissioner Ramsey. I've asked for a meeting. You know, I had met his senior, the person that does he's in charge of seniors. His name is Lawrence Bell. I got to meet him first as well. But I'm not shy. So I just go online and just reach out and call.
So tell us a little bit then about how that coordinates. How do you coordinate for your field trips or stuff where Harris County is now helping?
Well, I have learned that the boundaries and the limits in the counties, they're very regulated and they're very specific. So we are Cypress, particularly that region, is with Precinct 3. And so when we have events, there's a Harris County bus line, and then we call them and we just say, okay, we have a future event going on this day and this day. They actually open twice a year, I think, and it's in April and October. So they book, because you can, it's free for everyone. I mean, it's not just us. There's different groups.
Come pick the seniors up at their home, or is there a location that
we choose a location. When we've been to the Astros or to the zoo, we've chosen a main location. The seniors arrive there, and then we go into the bus, and then the bus takes us.
So how do you find that your seniors get to that location?
Some of them still drive. Yeah, and then some of them, their children drive. But yeah, I have a 92 that still drives.
Hey,
so.
That is good.
Yeah. Now, in the Hispanic group meet in Tamarón, in Katy, or Fulshire, somewhere over there. We don't have a bus there yet. So I've teamed with the school, the French school. They have a transportation company, and they really help us with their transportation. So
that is fantastic.
I've teamed with them, and we've used their transportation to transport the seniors wherever we go.
So what would you want families to know about senior loneliness? What are some of the signs? Because as we talked earlier, a lot of seniors that I've talked to, I've got some seniors that are customers with their insurance. And Clint, I do not want to call my son and burden him with this, and it's stuff that I'm going to bet that a lot of times the grown kids would want to know.
Right.
And so what do you see about that? And how do families, are there signs that you've recognized for these adult kids to know when their parents really do need help and just don't want to ask? Or is there education that you work with the grown adult kids as here's things we've learned and about your parents? Or how is that handled? Where there needs to be an education all the way around. I think a lot of times it's people get too busy with their lives. And look, I know with Dad, my whole life, you're raised, especially I think as sons with your dads are your protector. So you don't see weaknesses, and I think sometimes the last to see the weaknesses are the kids of senior parents, especially I think those that have a close relationship with that parent, because you've always they've always taken care of me, and I think sometimes it's hard to accept Mom and Dad are getting to the point that they actually need my help now, and they're not.
Yeah.
That strength that they provided for us growing up can tend to, we age in front of our eyes and don't realize it until we see a picture of 5 years earlier. And I think sometimes with the relationship with our senior parents, I think that a lot of times that can happen too.
I would say maybe, technology is our friend right now. So do FaceTime more often. I think if you're able to see their house, see how they look like, if they've lost any weight or if they've gained weight, or men if they shave and then they're not shaving. Those are the visible signs, I would say. Or if they're just always tired. Oh, I just want to sleep. Or I want to take a nap. Or I can't talk to you right now. I think the more you talk to them in person or through FaceTime, so scheduling, then the more conversations that you have, the more you realize, oh, they're being more forgetful. Oh, well, you're asking me the same thing. You already asked me that yesterday. Why are you asking me again? Or why are you wearing the same thing? Did you not sleep well? Asking them, I think. So when the senior, and this is for education purposes, you were saying specifically, now that I'm thinking about it, when the seniors come, we ask them about, they're called social determinants of health, which means pretty much everything around you. Do you have any heat? How is your heating going? Do you have any water leaks? Do you have any money to get you through the rest of the month for food? Did you go grocery shopping? How are you going grocery shopping? How can you lift the bags up? What are you eating? And so that you're needing to bag, do you need it online, or what type of nutrition are you eating? Or if the kids have their financial, because then they're like, okay, right now, a lot of the seniors are getting scammed. So that's another thing. Who are you talking to on the phone, or are you receiving messages for scammers? But I think just the more you interact, the more you can be aware. And what we do in the clinic is, if the seniors come and, after the engagement and the conversation, if we really realize that these seniors need help, we call every senior has the emergency contact on them, and they have they're supposed to list their emergency contact and their family members. So if they are allowed for the emergency contact, we call and say, look, we're really worried. There's something that's not right. They're not taking their medications correctly. The pharmacy's saying that they haven't filled them up yet. We send the medicines, they don't take them. What's going on? They've fallen multiple times. What's going on?
Yeah. So on a more positive note, what does joy look like for your seniors that you serve? Because I'm sure you have seen where you have really made a difference in providing activities that have brought joy to these seniors.
you're welcome to come on Saturday and see it yourself or having a brunch. But Joy just looks like they love the food. They get really upbeat when they dance and when they exercise and when they're ready to go to the next event, or when they ask, that's another question that I always get. How can I volunteer? How can I serve? How can you give me a purpose? And so I'm like, well, what are you good at? What are your talents? How can you help? How can you serve? Let's open it for you.
And that goes back to our discussion with Mom's pastor forming a widows group and my mother playing a key role for new widows in the church that they do. There is a real purpose there, and it keeps Mom busy. Impact isn't measured in numbers. It's measured in the smiles that you create and the loneliness that you erase.
I love that. I wish all your funders, can you repeat that? I wish all my funders could know, because I need that for my metrics.
I said, impact isn't measured in numbers. It's measured in the smiles you create and the loneliness that you erase.
I'm going to store that forever. I love that.
Good deal. Joy is contagious. Give it to one person and it spreads to the entire community. So those are two things that you are doing very much with Joy of Living. So now, how did people first learn about Joy of Living Club? How do they first how are you getting the name out?
We're doing the events, and we put out the flyers around the clinic where we work at HCA Hospital. So some of the doctors have the flyers around, and we have our website, and that's how we do it.
So are you using any social media yet to? And I'm thinking more. Well, my mom is still heavily on social media, but I was also thinking about adult kids like myself, where maybe they will see activities and be able to go to, hey, Mom, or hey, Dad, I think this might be fun.
Yes. One of the challenges that I've had to address, or deal with, like I said, is because I'm in nursing, and this is all a whole business side of it. And it's been challenging for me particularly to have somebody in marketing and social media, because I'm not a very technological person. And so we do have a social media account. And I do have LinkedIn, and we are on Facebook. I know that's a weakness of ours, that we need to get more out there and be exposed more. Between budget and the volunteers and having a reliable person, it's been harder.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to support your mission, what's the best way? Volunteering, sponsoring a senior, donating, helping with field trips, kind of what in your business? And then as you tell me how you vet those that want to come in and volunteer.
When you go into our website, it's www.joyoflivingclub.org. There's a donate button for financial donations. And that's, everything is perfectly set for that. And then there's also a comments. And I would just enjoy reading if you want to volunteer and what are your talents. So if there's somebody in marketing that would like to be there leading in a marketing business, perhaps, that would like to take us on, that would be great. So they can just put in marketing. Volunteers, speakers. If you would like to be a speaker, then you can also, that email goes straight to me. So I receive all of those comments, they go straight to me. So I'll receive them, and then I will get in contact with those persons. So if they want to volunteer, if they want to take our seniors outings, to help us with the outings, we're more than happy to have that as well.
So to grow a nonprofit, it's fastest when the community falls in love with its mission. So I'm guessing right now you're very heavily concentrated is it the Cypress area?
Yes. Yes, you're right. And we're going to join the Cypress Business Bureau, I believe. That's what it's, I think that's it. The struggle that I found was that Cypress is not a municipality, technically. And so there's not like an entire space like Tomball community, Conroe community. There's no city hall. There's no town hall.
Is there a Chamber of Commerce?
The Chamber of Commerce, the Cypress
Yes.
Chamber of Commerce. That's what I
Because
was saying.
I am heavily involved with the Southwest Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce,
Yes.
and I have got, on Thursday, I've got the president of that chamber coming in, and then next week I'm going to do one that's just a solo show where I go through how people can get involved with the benefits of the chamber and how they can
Oh, I'd love to be
use.
part of that. Yes.
So I'll let
Yes.
you know when that show airs so that you can, and then if you've got questions, but you definitely want to get in touch with your Chamber of Commerce. I'm sure that Cypress or in that area that they have one.
They do. We have to do that. So most of our contacts, since I'm in medicine, they are Memorial Hermann, HCA, Methodist Hospital, Encompass Rehab, because, hospice agencies.
And I'm sure you're sponsoring because I know that Methodist, and I believe it is, I'm not going to tell a story about the second one. I know that Methodist sponsors the chamber that I'm involved with, so I'm going to
Great.
bet you that, and I think it might be MD Anderson that sponsors, is one of our other sponsors. So
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if you didn't have hospitals that were sponsoring your local chamber to some degree, just to help with it.
Yes, you asked me, from the very beginning if I've been if I've grown how I've wanted. We've done this in 1 year,
You have.
and so sometimes I just
remember
need to.
talking to you.
I need to remember this has only been 1 year, 1 year of branches and 1 year of doing all of these activities and getting our feet wet and just continuing on. So we're starting, but we're gonna continue.
Because Brett, does he sits on your board, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and does bookkeeping.
Yeah.
He is who I know that had referred you to me when we first met.
Well, originally he was on our board, but for nonprofit reasons, because he's doing the bookkeeping, he's in our executive committee.
Gotcha.
Because of laws and to make sure, so we have a treasurer, and then he's in a different position, but he's my direct bookkeeper, and he keeps me in line with all my receipts and QuickBooks and everything. Yes.
So when you started this, Anna, did you just start it all alone, or did you have kind of others that you had talked to that stepped in, or has the help come once you started it?
I started all alone.
See, that's incredible that you've taken that on.
I started all alone with the guidance of God, and then with a spiritual director, with a friend and my husband, that he was from the very beginning, he thought I was crazy because I told him, I'm going to work for God. We're not going to have any more kids. And I'm going to be, all of this is because of this retreat, and I'm going to work. God gave me a new purpose. And this new purpose was seniors, not growing our family. We're not going to get...
It sounds like it wasn't just a purpose, it was a passion.
Right. But then a month after this all happened, I got pregnant and I had another baby. So I now have two.
So God does work in mysterious ways, because at that point, I believe you had said you weren't sure if you could get pregnant again.
They had told me no. And so I came back from the retreat. I told my husband, we're not having any more babies. I already know. God talked to me. We're not doing this. I'm just going to work for the seniors. The seniors are going to be my babies. And then I got pregnant a month later. So I had him, my family, of course, supporting me throughout all of this. And just my friends, that they were also our first donors. But in general, one person, and that's the thing, when you're creating something, you need everyone. It was incredible. Like, you need marketing. You need somebody that's good in marketing, somebody that's good in finance, somebody that's good in bookkeeping, somebody that's good in law, you can't do it all. And so I'm thankful that I'm surrounded with very good people and a lot of good connections, and it's grown so much, and my friends have come, and then we started from a working board now to another board, and more people come, more people leave, but I started creating the team, and then from the team it grew and grew and grew and grew.
So let's throw a little bit of joy out here a little bit. What are some of the positive changes that you have seen in some of your previously isolated seniors? The more you've gotten involved, there has to be positives that you've seen.
I mean, when we went to the zoo, this lady said, I'm not getting a scooter because I'm forcing myself to walk.
Mm-hmm.
And she forced herself to walk and exercise. That was
Wow.
amazing.
That is great.
Yeah. I had another lady, she had a knee surgery. And that weekend, she came to the brunch because she said, Anna, I love this so much. I don't want to miss another brunch. So she came. And the fact that I know many of their stories, I know many of their pain, and they're still showing up. Just the fact that they're getting out of bed and they're getting out of their couch from watching TV on a Saturday morning and they're driving to the hospital to have fun, that's just a win every time I see the seniors.
Yeah. The greatest gift you can give is helping someone feel like they belong again.
Yes.
And I think that's probably a lot of the joy that you probably see too, is as you see the seniors start building friendships and feeling like, hey, I've got purpose and I belong again.
Yes.
When you lift a senior spirit, you're lifting an entire family because, it's going to help back with their grown kids.
Yes.
And kids know that their seniors are happy.
Yes.
So for
It's
your
totally
future,
true.
What is your 5-year vision for Joy of Living?
Well, there's right now by Cypress, by like 290 and 99 around that area towards going that way. There's not a senior community center. So we would like to have the senior community center. We have a church that opened its doors to us already. We're working with the health department and Catch, an organization to give the seniors meals so that when we have the center, that when we open it, then they can have meals every day.
So what else will the health department do for the seniors? Because I know they can play a big role in our community.
Yes. Well, we're working on it and negotiating and trying to, with the Area Agency on Aging, try to talk, how can we best partner? And what are the needs in this community so that we can address the needs as best as possible. But we would like to have the center going Monday through Friday and providing all of these activities and providing a place where the seniors can come. There's Jurgens Hall right now, which is a plantation home, and that's what they're using right now for a community center. But we would like to have a better one, a newer one, and to be able to serve all the seniors because that area is growing so much. Bridgeland, Town Lake, towards 99, all of that is growing so much.
So as you expand, what is your plans for adding others to help you? Because there will reach a point, Anna, that you won't be able to do it all without some help around you as you develop other communities. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah. Originally, we put this as Joy of Living Club because technically we could do it anywhere, wherever. As long as they're seniors, we can do it everywhere. We can do different activities. We can maybe do a network of speakers that would want to go. And then that way we could go to 55 plus communities. We could do a network of, I'm thinking it's not physical therapists, but also physical therapies, speech therapists. But the word that I was using is functional therapists. There's some people that are functional aging therapists, and they are experts in the senior care. So we could have a network of, support for other seniors throughout the Houston community.
So as you grow, as you expand, I want to know what your vision is for future field trips, but I also realized we didn't discuss what kind of field trips are the seniors taking now, in what kind of field trips would you like to be able to add in the future, or maybe you're exploring?
The seniors want any excuse they can in general, as long as it's feasible and easy to be part of. So they love all the Astros games.
Mm-hmm.
They sign up to go to the Astros games super fast. Harris County is very good with the areas as far as how many miles we can drive to expose the seniors of different things. They love the zoo. Just need to remember, whatever trips we do, they need to have a bathroom on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Bathrooms are very important.
So is Space City too far away down off of NASA Road 1 to go to our NASA?
No, I think it would be good. Maybe we just have to have a bathroom break along the way. I'm learning, and not have a lot of persons on walkers, or because it just takes them so much to get on the bus and off the bus. No, Space City would be great.
Hey, I'm not a senior yet, and I find I still have to have my bathroom breaks when I'm taking a trip.
Yeah, and then if I'm not sure where it's too personal, but if you're taking diuretics, then that's an extra, trip to the bathroom with medications involved.
So far, I don't have to take anything that a doctor prescribes. So
that's good. Congratulations. Keep it up.
Well, I figure if you ignore them, they can't tell you something's wrong with you.
Okay, maybe that's not that good. No, but we've partnered with another group. It's called Young at Heart, and the person that does that, she used to run a nonprofit, and she's actually taking seniors to a cruise. Actually, she's enrolling seniors, and they're all going as a group together.
That is awesome.
So there's many places, many churches in particular, that they do regular monthly outings.
If you decide to add normal cruise destinations, if you call me, I have somebody that you can very much trust that they coordinate cruises all over the world.
Oh, great.
So somebody I very much trust.
That's wonderful.
So as you're going forward, how do you define success? When you sit back at the end of the day, we all, when we start something, even when it's out of a passion and caring for people, there are little check marks in our brain that we put, this is where I'm achieving what I feel like I need to achieve to accomplish my goals. So kind of what do you personally see that you're looking for, as far as knowing you're staying on track with your vision?
My success would be to have the full running senior community center, and for the seniors that we have to have them come and be the volunteers, or any senior around to explode their talent, still serving the community. So
you're looking for a newer senior facility as you grow, maybe a little larger.
Yes. The senior facility, right, like I said, there's nothing right now other than Durgan's Hall, but there's not a new one. And of course, this area is very concentrated with seniors, and within they're also stubborn, many of them. So, if they're driving around extra miles that they're not used to, they're not going to. Right now, they drive to wherever they feel comfortable with. And so a specific area that's where the center will be, or we're trying to focus on the center for the seniors over there. And just to enroll, success is to be able to touch the lives of seniors, for other maybe Joy of Living clubs to be throughout the community, for the seniors to come out, for the maybe college students to match with seniors and then check in on them. Just to have more seniors involved, and less seniors that are eating at restaurants alone.
Yeah.
Like you said from the very beginning about metrics. My success is when I get to heaven, and then God will be like, okay, you did what I asked you to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know how exactly I can measure that right now. But if when the seniors go to heaven, they will tell Jesus, okay, Anna, Joy of Living, they will organize a Joy of Living with me, And so when I die, then there will be a Joy of Living reunion.
We tend to forget that it's all about the crowns that we're going to lay at his feet when we get there. And we tend to get pretty focused on what we're trying to accomplish here. So
Yeah.
at the end of a day, you've got a lot going on. How do you recharge?
My kids. With my kids, we try to do different activities. I need to be better at this, but to have more boundaries, and I go to church and family, but in general, just the service just recharges me, and the positiveness just keeps me going. So that just in itself recharges me.
Well, and your faith, I can tell, plays a huge influence on your mission with Joy of Living Club.
Yes.
So outside of your nonprofit space with Joy of Living Club, what inspires you outside of that?
What inspires me outside?
So would that go back to your kids, your husband, and your faith?
What inspires me to live?
No, just inspires you in life. We all find stuff that we find inspiration from.
Without getting too much, in faith, saints inspire me. The seniors inspire me, listening to their stories, wanting to be like them when I grow up. Yeah. They inspire me. Right now, since I started the nonprofit, but listening to good stories, good successful stories of business owners that have touched lives and have created something amazing, fruitful, that inspires me. My friends inspire me a lot in cheerfulness, and I don't know. I try to be grateful every day and find positivity and inspiration every day.
Well, that's good. So what advice would you give someone starting out that's wanting to start out and do their own nonprofit to give back?
I think the advice would be reach out to me and we can help do it together. I think this is a hard one because along the way I've gotten so many people that have told me not to do it because it takes so much work. And although many of them have given me a lot of meetings and, been very inspirational, I haven't found a true person that would be like, here is the guidelines. You do 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's no direct pathway. And I'm not going to share your sponsors or my funders. There was actually a really amazing nonprofit. It's called His Father's Heart. They actually were the first ones that actually opened up with their philanthropy advisor and donated their hour to help me try to find funders and try to do some donors. But besides that, I think everyone is just trying to survive as a nonprofit, trying to get their donors, trying to just stay afloat and just do that rather than being as much of a team leaders and like, oh, this is a nonprofit, let's help out, let's do all of that.
Good deal.
Did I answer?
You did. So, one thing, and only one thing, if you could go back to day one of starting the Joy of Living Club, but you can only tell yourself one thing, what would that one thing be? So you've got the wisdom now here, and you can go back to the very first day when you go, okay, I'm starting this, but you can tell yourself one thing that would help with this path. What would that be?
That's a very hard one. Try to trust God.
Good deal. So we're going to go into what we call the lightning round.
Okay. Favorite
game to play with seniors?
Bingo.
Bingo. A moment recently that made you smile?
The senior brunch where the ladies went in there. I'm sorry, the grief support group.
Oh, good. So, one song that always gets seniors dancing?
YMCA.
dream field trip destination for the seniors?
The zoo.
The zoo.
And we made it happen.
So I'm going to ask you a question that I can't do.
Okay.
In fact, my fiance says you can't ever just give me a yes or no. You've got to give me a whole
Context?
Yes. One word that describes your mission.
Joy.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We're going to go into our round now where we call it the Business Insurance Spotlight, protecting nonprofits like Joy of Living Club. Before we wrap up, it's time to do our Business Insurance Spotlight. We're going to spotlight some of the coverages that organizations like Joy of Living Club can use to protect their incredibly important work that they do. Nonprofits face unique risk. The right coverage ensures the mission continues without interruption. The key coverages are: the first one, general liability. It covers injuries or property damage that can happen at events, meetings, brunches, or activities. This is the foundation policy that every nonprofit needs. Professional liability, social services liability. It protects the organization if somebody claims improper care, negligent supervision, or emotional harm. It's important for nonprofits serving vulnerable populations. We have abuse and molestation coverage. This provides protection from allegations of misconduct. We pray that that wouldn't happen, but there are times that it has happened. It's absolutely essential for that to protect yourselves, your business. Seniors and children can be vulnerable adults and kids with that. Right. Workers' compensation. It covers employees who are injured while working, whether lifting, setting up events, preparing food, or assisting seniors. It's required in most cases where there are employees. Volunteer accident and volunteer liability coverage. For your volunteers. Volunteers aren't covered under workers' comp. So this protects the volunteer if they get hurt, and the nonprofit if a volunteer accidentally injures someone or damages property. So for hired and non-owned auto, it protects the nonprofit staff if staff or volunteers drive their personal vehicles for nonprofit activities, picking up meals, supplies, or attending events. Applies even if the organization doesn't own a vehicle. D&O, which are directors and officers. This covers the board and leadership team for claims involving decision-making, finances, governance, or HR issues, a must for any nonprofit with a board. Cyber liability. It protects donors and volunteer data, email systems, and digital records from hacks, data breaches, or ransomware. Even small nonprofits can be targets. Special event liability. It provides protection for fundraisers, brunches, golfs, tournaments, field trips, and community events, especially when using rented venues or transportation groups. For nonprofits like Joy of Living Club, the right insurance protects the people they serve, the mission they stand for, and the joy they bring. This information is general in nature. Always consult a licensed commercial insurance agent to review your operations and determine the right coverages for your specific businesses. Anna, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure having you here. Everything that you do, from the clinic exam room to the joyful brunchlet tables, field trips around Houston, you're providing the seniors that they are not living alone, that they're able to have fun, laugh, and dream. And for our listeners, if your parents, grandparents, or neighbors are feeling lonely, Joy of Living Club might be an exact need that will help for them. You can learn more about Sponsors a Senior or getting involved as a volunteer or support at joyoflivingclub.org. And if you're a business leader, think about how you could partner, whether it's sponsorship, a field trip, location, or simply sharing this episode, because behind every senior is a story worth honoring, and behind every act of generosity is a ripple of joy. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Genuine Business Stories. If you're enjoying the show, we'd love for you to consider becoming a sponsor. Make a donation back to Lone Star Community Radio, or sharing this episode with a friend, a neighbor, or fellow entrepreneur. And if you know a business owner with a story worth sharing, have them reach out. They just might be our next guest. Until next time, keep showing up, keep building, and keep it genuine. Thank you.